everything you want to know about health insurance, open enrollment, or enrollment periods, but we're afraid to ask. Now, coming up, we have 2 open enrollment periods. I'm going to go in reverse order. Individual and family plans through the Affordable Care Act. Open enrollment is November 1st to December 15th. Now, in previous years, we had November 1st to January 31st, but for some reason, they cut it in half. So, for whatever reason. And they've also scheduled maintenance on the website every Sunday for 12 hours, so you can't go in during those periods. But I just want to make sure you understand that the time to get in and get your stuff done has been severely limited, so make sure you don't procrastinate. Outside of the open enrollment period, you need what is called a special enrollment period. And for that, you need a qualifying life event. So, for example, if you have a loss of health coverage, you were working, you were laid off, you don't have employer coverage anymore, they don't have COBRA, then you have a 60-day open enrollment period, special enrollment period, in which you can apply for coverage. Changes in your household, marriage, divorce, births, adoptions, those sorts of things trigger an open enrollment or a special enrollment period for anyone in for that family. Changes in residence. Let's say you move from Oregon to Washington. Now you're outside of the plan that you had. You have a 60-day window in which you can apply for coverage. And then other qualifying events. Let's say you get out of jail. So you now are out of jail, and you were getting your health care by the state. Now you can get it by the feds. Now, we also have Medicare open enrollment period. Medicare has been around since I was a senior in high school back in 1965. It was signed into law by Lyndon Johnson. And its open enrollment period starts October 15th and goes to December 7th. Anybody confused yet? And that's for a January 1st effective date. Now that annual enrollment period, otherwise known as AEP, is open, so anybody who has Medicare can change plans, stay in their same plan, move to a different company, carrier, whatever. But they have to do it in that period of time. If they don't, they're SOL, and they have to wait till the next annual enrollment period. Now for newly eligible people, someone who's aging into Medicare, they have the 3 months prior to their 65th birthday month, and the 3 months following their 65th birthday month. It's hard to say. So it's a 7-month period. The initial enrollment period is 7 months to get their program together and figure out what they're going to do. Now, before they can get a Medicare supplement plan, they have to sign up for Medicare Parts A and B. Part A is paid for during your working life through your payroll taxes. Part B is paid for when you enroll and start getting Medicare Part B, and it's about, on average, around $137 a month. Now, if you just stop there with original Medicare, Part A and B, about 80% of your medical costs are going to be covered. So if you go in and you have a medical event and it costs $100,000 to fix you up, you're going to be on the hook for about 20% of that. Federal government, through Medicare, will be on the hook for 80% of that. Now, what do you do about that 20%? Well, you go out, unless you're very, very wealthy and you can self-insure, most people will go out and find either a Medicare supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan. Now, I don't want to get out too far in the weeds to talk about the differences, but you can, in fact, insure for that 20%. Now, again, once you have Medicare and you're in a plan and some circumstance changes in your life, you'll open up a special enrollment period where you don't have to wait for the annual enrollment period to make a change. So again, similar to the Affordable Care Act, loss of coverage, change of residence, and so on and so forth. Now there's also something called a Medicare Disadvantage or Medicare Advantage disenrollment period, and that's January 1st to February 14th. And that allows someone who they signed up, you know, they got high pressure salesman, got them to sign up for a plan. You're going to sign up for this plan, lady. And she goes, gee whiz, I really don't like that guy. I don't want to work with him. They have the opportunity to disenroll during that first 6 weeks of the following year. And during that time, they switch back to original Medicare. So, the bottom line is that it was designed to be confusing so that people rely on people like me. So, I don't know why, but that's the way it is. So if you get your insurance through the Affordable Care Act or through the federal marketplace, I urge you to make any changes. Go to healthcare.gov, open up your account, report any life changes, and you can see what your options are for going into 2018. I don't know if the rates are there yet, but we're looking at about a 25% rate increase in most jurisdictions. And that's 2/3 of that is directly related to the sabotage of by the current administration for the Affordable Care Act. I don't want to get political, but the point is that this administration is not friendly, let's put it that way, to the Affordable Care Act. And so that's why they're restricting the period of time in which you can sign up. They're restricting, and then they're scheduling 12 hours of maintenance every Sunday during this period of time, so you won't be able to access the website. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of that and that you don't get left out. Got a minute or so for questions? I overwhelm you.
What was that website again?
Healthcare.gov. www.healthcare.gov. If you're on the Oregon Health Plan and your circumstances haven't changed, you could probably stay there. Now, if you get a communication from the Oregon Health Plan, and that's the plan where you qualify for coverage and you don't have to pay a premium because of income, so on and so forth. Just if they say, hey, you've got to verify your income, get those papers in, because if you don't, you'll lose your coverage. All right? So, 30 seconds.
Yeah,
So then?
Medicare, do you help people sign up for Medicare? Does everybody get Medicare when they're older?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. With a few exceptions. One is I'm working with a couple from India, and they've been here. They didn't spend their entire working career here. They didn't pay into the system, so they don't qualify for Medicare. There are certain rules that you have to qualify, and I think it's 10 quarters or 40 quarters, and so on. All right, my time's up. Thank you.